welcome. We have Ruby Balaram today. She is the CEO and founder of Real Dog Box, which is monthly subscription, natural, beautiful treat box for your dog. It's a gateway for raw feeding. And then she is just so smart. She started the Feed Real Institute with Kay, and Kay's actually she's a beast. So she was a educator in the major university system and was Katie Woodley's instructor in vet school, I believe. And so how you pulled that off is just amazing, but it's like the dream team for dog raw. So Ruby, thank you for being here. I have mad respect for you.
Thank
So
you.
what
Thank you.
you've done for the dog, holistic, raw awareness, is just beautiful.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. No, I totally lucked out with Kay. I remember putting up a job posting and coming across her application thinking it was fake. I was like, there's no way. There's no way that this woman who's been in research for the last 30 years wants to come work with our tiny, we didn't have any employees. She was the first one for Feed Real specifically. And yeah, no, we got on a call and completely hit it off, and she's great. I wouldn't have been able to do any of this with the Institute, with our vet attendance and our conferences, with the summit without Kay. Amazing.
Amazing. Who made the feed real calculator? I love that.
Well, it was a group effort. But so before the Feed Real Institute for with Real Dog Box, I was teaching people how to make their food at home. And when they were trying to figure out their portion sizes, I was like, oh, just send it to me and I'll give you the calculations. And then, my dog's a little, overweight or didn't do well with this food or is getting older now. And then I would have to redo it. And I was like, this is so dumb. Like, why do we have to make it so complicated and go off and calculate your resting metabolism and how much you should be eating. So I wanted to do it, and with the help of Kay and my co-founder, and we also have an internal tech team, like software developers in-house
Wow.
that build anything we asked them to build. And it took a little bit, but we figured it out, and we wanted to make it free and put it out there so anyone could access it.
You guys, if you don't know the feed real calculator, it is amazing. And I can pull it up later and give you guys a view. We could actually do my rescue dog on the feed real calculator. I haven't done that yet. But yeah, it's so smart and you have so many options. And Ruby, I've interviewed you before for the Cancer Free Canine page. You actually had this amazing transformation in your dog that was diagnosed with cancer just by feeding raw.
hmm
And you went around the whole world to learn how to feed raw.
Well, I had to because there weren't any resources available for us here. But my first trip was out to Australia, Sydney, Australia, to meet Tom Lonsdale, he's still in the game. I don't know if you've ever interviewed him. Oh
No.
my gosh, he is a hoot. Um, Tom Lonsdale and Ian Billinghurst have a history. Started off positive, but turned into something else. So I don't know that they're on the same page anymore for several reasons. But I learned so much from visiting his clinic. And he did a lot of the things that we set out to do, which was just educating people one by one by one. But where everyone falls into a challenge is like, how do you get the information out there? How do you get more people to learn about this? And so he taught me a lot of what I knew. Went from him, went out to Canada, to Montreal. I think all of the English speaking countries outside of America are quite a bit ahead in terms of feeding fresh food to their dogs and their cats. So I did my research in that way, stopped at the National Zoo in Washington, D.C. to learn, what are you guys feeding your felines and canines,
That's
at the
cool.
zoo? And uh, believe it or not, it is fresh food, but they throw some kibble in there too.
Oh no. That's so sad.
Yeah.
You would expect fresh food.
Yeah. And
I
maybe
wouldn't.
things have changed in the last 10 years, but I think they know at heart what the right thing to do is. But like so many other people, we look for convenience, right? We look for economically what's going to fit our lifestyle and our budget. And that's sometimes not always the best choice biologically.
Yeah. And that's probably the biggest complaint. People hire me for iridology, and they also hire me for muscle testing. And the iridology is so cool, Ruby. If you're not used to it, it you can track how efficient your dog's diet is working in the iris. And so it's a little window of gauging if you're heading the right direction or the wrong direction. And when there's like systemic toxicity, you can see it, or inflammation. So you can adjust as needed. But when I talk to clients, most clients that reach out to me are pretty much kibble feeders. And so I have to like stair step into the raw territory because it's terrifying for them and they don't want to get
Sure.
dirty. And I'm I don't love chopping up organs. I'm going to tell you that. I'm like, I don't blame you, you guys. I don't want to thaw on a big liver. But if you're on a budget, you can actually really do raw through your institute, through your calculator, very affordable.
Yeah, well, and that's the goal. That's, I think, as a general statement, I think everyone in this room believes that fresh food is superior to something ultra processed. So that's the easy part. But then outside of that, it's like, oh, how do you put it all together? And there are amazing companies that are making fresh food. I will vouch for several of them, our partners for this year's Feed Real Summit, both raw and gently cooked. But it can add up. Absolutely. So that's why we're
Well,
here, so we can teach you.
yeah, and you have an amazing media team. You have these TikTok or Instagram reels that you like go to Trader Joe's and you're like, you can feed this and you can feed this. And I actually find that really helpful.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
for sure. And I think a little bit of fresh food is better than none. So wherever your clients can start is better than where they were when they came to you.
absolutely. And your Feed Real Institute offers two different types of courses, like the basic pet parent and then also a clinical nutritional course. And that
Yeah,
CE approved, right?
it is. It is. Oh my gosh. Again, thank you to Kay for making that happen for us because we had attended so many vet conferences and actually that wasn't the initial question like is this race approved for CEs? It is a way for us to incentivize veterinary staff to learn more about canine nutrition because they didn't learn about it in vet school and they need the credits anyway to maintain their license. But the question that we often got was, do you have a board certified veterinary nutritionist on staff? And then my answer would be, do you know how many board certified veterinary nutritionists there are in the world? Of course, they have no idea, but there are less than 100. I mean,
Well, and who made them a board certified? Like, was that Purina? Was that Nestle?
right.
That Mars? Like, I
Yeah.
just scoff at that.
I know, but somebody told them at one of those conferences that, hey, if your clients are going to feed fresh food or a raw diet, you need to make sure that that company has a board certified vet on staff. And that's what the golden standard became. But there are so many companies that are vets that are simply conflicted out because they're already working with kibble companies simply because that's, the science that they learned. And so we reached out to every single one of them. We got
Oh,
some,
all the board,
every
the
single
under
one.
100 board
Yeah.
certified. Okay,
Yeah.
tell
Kay
me
did
what
that.
happened.
Every single one sent them an individual email. We got a lot of no responses. We got some very vague, I'm not interested. And we got some very bold, I do not support what you're doing, your endeavor, like this is wrong. And so we also invited every single one of them to our summit. And so, so asking that question, like, do you have a board certified veterinary nutritionist on staff? Hey, none of them want to talk to us. We would love to. We would love to invite them to learn about what we're doing. But if they don't open the door to us, that's never going to be a possibility.
I got on the pet food industry mailing list somehow. And so I see all these job offers like, Poppy, they're hiring here. You should apply. I'm like, never. I would never apply for that. Like, and I'm just, as I like, I guess they just had their annual conference or something like that. And I'm just like, what do they talk about? Like, they must like pat each other on the back and high five each other
Mhm.
and talk about P&L statements, I guess. I don't know.
You know, I have been to not that particular conference. It was called Pet Food 2.0. I think this was in 2016, around when we first started. It was in Chicago, and we thought that we were going to a 2.0 conference where we were discussing like better ingredients to use in the food and things that shouldn't be included in the food. Boy, was I wrong. We walked in there and you would see these cool ingredients like ashwagandha was what was coming out at that time. Everyone was into it. And really, all they were saying was like, here are the key words, the marketing phrases that you can use to make your product sound clean and natural and organic. And here are cheap ways to add these things into your food. It may not make a really big difference, but that's what they were marketing. There was one other raw food company I remember, Vital Essentials. I don't remember the name of the woman, but she came and approached us, and it was just three of us in this small little corner of, 500 people who were talking about how to basically make kibble sound healthier.
Oh my God.
And we were like, we're in the wrong place. I don't know what we were thinking coming here.
Well, you probably learned from it though. Like we can at least have this conversation about what's happening on the
Yeah.
other side.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we really thank you for everything you've done. It's just an amazing opportunity. You were ahead of the curve. You started feeding raw when?
We started 2014, I think. So I don't know if that I was that far ahead. But I do give a lot of credit to Kimberly Gautier, who
Yeah.
her first book, it's escaping me. I had it here for the longest time, and I brought it to to our kitchen. I think it was one of the Keep the Tail Wagging um, a part of that series. But her book helped me. Her blog helped me immensely. And that's probably between that and then on top of that, going to meet Tom and all these other resources, people that I met. That's when I was like, there's no turning back from this. And beyond that, everyone needs to know.
Yeah. Well, I think you're doing a really good job spreading the word. And your subscription dog box, it caters to like getting those kibble people to at least feed healthy treats.
Yeah.
How do we connect the two?
Well, the way that I talk about it is sort of like you said, the gateway or the stepping stone to fresh food. Because we have a different menu every 4 weeks, it forces people to feed 4 to 6 different proteins every month, right? Whereas I think it's very common for people to go to their favorite restaurant and order the same meal. It's just comforting. They want to go back. They like that. And so they tend to, you don't do that?
I totally do it. I'm so
Oh,
bad. I'm always like, come on, Poppy, step out of the box. I'm like, what if I
yeah.
hate it? I don't want to spend $20 on $30, maybe $50 on something
Yeah.
just
And I get that, but that's going out to our favorite place every day though, and making that decision for your dog to only have that same food over and over, or oh, he really loves this treat, so they go to the same store and buy the same treat over and over. It's kind of the same thing. And so we make it easier for them so they don't have to think about what they're going to buy or what they like. We just send it and then they feed it. And if they don't like it, we say, okay, no problem, we'll replace it. And so I think that gets people thinking. They're like, okay, maybe I should be giving different things all the time. We have had a handful of people though say, my dog won't eat his kibble anymore. He's only eating your treats. I don't know what to do. And I'm like, well, it's a sign. Time to switch.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's
So
giving you a clear message.
exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
mutiny. Once they learn, they know.
Yeah, well, that's what forced us to make our meatballs. Our
Oh,
meatballs
yeah.
were, I think the second to last product that we released. The meatballs has our Reall ancestral diet, so like the 6 ingredient meal replacement, essentially. So a lot of people will take that on the go, or if they don't have time to thaw their dog's food, run out, forget about it. They're like, oh, I have meatballs on hand. And then the food chopper, you mentioned not wanting to chop up liver and other organs. The food chopper, it's a 50-50 mix of liver and another secreting organ. Lifesaver. Just sprinkle it on top.
I love that idea. I got a free bag at last year's conference and it was gone really fast.
Well,
Yeah, I should have ordered more. I don't know why I didn't, but I loved it.
so that's one of our add-ons to our boxes. We ended up making a standalone subscription, so people they were just using it, and we switch every month. So it might be beef liver and beef spleen, and then the next month pork liver and pork kidney. So that way they're
Bison.
getting
We
that
had
variety.
bison that I got because
Hmm.
my last dog was super sensitive to a ton of protein. So often I'd like try something of yours and it was a fail just because of his sensitivities. But that was a win, the bison. It might have been a bison beef combo, but it was
Yeah.
really great.
Good, good. Well, and I don't know if you saw it, but I did add a feature on our calculator. So as you're going through, if you don't have the raw organs, you can click on getting the air dried substitution and we'll tell you how much of the food topper to add on instead.
Wow, I didn't know you did that. That's so cool. Now, I always forget about your meatballs, but yeah, what a great way to have something just in case you're evacuated in a fire or you're in a snowstorm and you can't get out. And so if you're locked in a compromising situation or you go out of town and your dog sitter doesn't want to handle all that stuff.
Yeah, that happens. All of those situations are ones that people have reached out to us about and been like, we'll send it to you as long as if you're traveling and you're still in the US and you run out of food. If you're at a location for 3 days and we can mail you product, we'll get you something that you can feed.
Amazing, Ruby. What customer service. Now, I have been to your last two. Were those the first two summits?
Yeah, they were. This is the third one coming up in 2 weeks.
I loved it. The venue is gorgeous. It's such an intimate workspace. And then you set it up crazy cute. Like there's inflatable dogs everywhere. There's paws. There's like inspirational dog sayings. And then you have like this catered meal for everyone, which is really lovely. I saw your guests this year. Everybody loves Connor. Like could anybody say a bad thing about Connor Brady?
Oh,
And
I can.
oh,
I tease him all the time. I'm like, someone's got to bring you back down to earth, buddy.
amen. Thank you, Ruby, for that. That was much needed. And Lee Carroll, I feel like you got Lee Carroll for me. I was like, Lee Carroll is he here?
Yeah, and I'll be honest, only had heard of him a few times, and he showed up last year at the summit, and I could not believe how many people were flocking over to him. And I was like, wow, you have a lot of fans in America.
He is so knowledgeable and just delightful to be around. Plus, he's super cool, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
if you
did
have
you see
those
the
blue
salmon can?
glasses on, you
Yeah.
look like a British rock star or something.
Yeah. Well, I think you've got to be a little eclectic in this and then our industry, right? Because we're everyone, including yourself. I mean, we're going against the grain. We're fighting an uphill battle every single day to do things that most people don't want to do, they don't have the courage or, the bandwidth to do it. And so we got to go out there and be a little weird.
We have to like scream it from the rooftops in a very lovely manner. But it, anybody that approaches it and tries it can usually see an immediate difference. Like it sells itself if you can get them over their fear.
For sure. I think it's definitely what I refer to as the slow game. It's not, you talk to a lot of people and they have to see many examples oftentimes before they jump. And once they do, though, they're like, I don't know why it took me so long to get here. And that's okay. And sometimes we don't learn with our first dog or our second dog, and we just every single time try to make better choices when we know better. And that's kind of why the summit was so important to me, because I do see us putting so much helpful content out there. I mean, like, for example, the Trader Joe's post, something like that of, and when you go to the store, you can also buy this for your dog. That's great. It's a good start. But beyond that, everything else we talk about, there wasn't any practicality to it. So it was like, how do we bring people together and say, this is how you can implement this into your everyday life? Like, you don't just go to this lecture and hear something really, really cool and learn it and maybe talk about it to your friends for a couple of days. The intent is, yeah, you talk about it with your friends, but you go home and you're like, I know what I'm going to change in my daily routine. Or these are the supplements that I probably don't need to be feeding all the time and the ones that I should put into my, routine.
Yeah.
And so I think having keys like that makes big changes a lot easier to adjust to, because then it's not so life-changing. You're just like, okay, I can do a little bit of this, not so bad.
You know, Rodney and Karen's presentation last year was a game changer for me. And I went home and took my bed and put it by the window to get the circadian rhythms going. And my dog normally was hard and like would just kind of sleep in. Like if the sunshine wasn't shining in the window, which I didn't understand. I just thought he liked the warm bed. He was super good. If I didn't have his food ready, he wasn't going to move. And so when I moved that bed in front of the window, the minute the sun started coming up and the birds started chirping, he was up and at it. Like it made a bigger difference than any supplement I was feeding. And it was, I was too. It totally popped me out of some like sluggish routine in the morning. And I was just like, wow, that made such a big difference. And it's because of you. Yeah, it all just trickles down. And the community is so amazing. Like we're all in it together. We're all here for the same reason. We all might have different angles and different expertise. It's like X-Men, right? You have your little superpower. Like Rita's always there. You can guarantee Rita's a party animal. And so I love that about her. She's always game. She's always learning. She's so humble and she's always present. And then we have Barbara Royal coming this year and Chelsea Kent. Chelsea, I got to sit next to Chelsea at dinner, at Julie's dinner at Judy Morgan's, and I was blown away how knowledgeable she is.
I can't believe how big of a brain she has in that little head.
It's crazy. And I don't know how old she is. She looks 20. Like, I'm like, who are you? I literally said that to her. I was like, oh my gosh, how do you know all this?
Yeah, no, she's amazing. I mean, I think there's a lot of people that sort of run in the holistic integrative circuit that we tend to see over and over again. And they're very knowledgeable, but there's some people that really just haven't had the opportunity yet. And Chelsea was someone that I really think deserves the stage, deserves the spotlight. And she does a lot of the work behind the scenes to help companies who you know, might not be around right now because they didn't have her support. And I think she's amazing. And she's just, I mean, I just got off the
I'm
phone
a big fan. I'm totally a big fan of Chelsea Kent. I was so blown away with her, and she has no echo chamber.
Yep.
Like I get so tired of everybody saying the same thing. I'm like, tell me something I don't know. I really crave that. Like, let's shake this up a little bit because we're obviously saying a lot of the same things and it's not necessarily working because there's still so many sick dogs out there.
Right. Right. Well, I think, one thing I tried to do differently this year was to get the entire summit race approved for credits.
Nice.
And with Kay's help, we were successful in doing that. We got 10 and a half interactive CEs for veterinary staff. And so my goal is not just to have these 2.0 pet parents and, our professionals who do consults on the side like you or, dog trainers or aspiring wellness coaches, but now to also have their vet on their side. And I think like every time I talk to a new vet, more and more we go to these conferences, even if they've been trained conventionally, perhaps this next generation of veterinarians are a little bit more open-minded. Maybe they have their own sort of health issues or things within their family that make them see like, I don't really want to follow the textbook pharmaceutical line, and perhaps there are other ways for us to heal our dogs. So I think that's going to be really powerful, being in the same room as your veterinarian potentially, and knowing that you have their support and guidance on this fresh food or holistic journey.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, great model. How'd you guys get race certified? I need to talk to Kay. I'll
Yeah,
get
well,
my course certified if I can.
you probably can. She can absolutely help. You do have to have some sort of veterinary credentials as well as someone to endorse you,
Okay.
if you don't have that background knowledge. But the great thing is once you become an approved instructor, it gets easier and easier. So we were able to get all of our speakers approved.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Congratulations. You have worked so hard. You have come so far. And I really think you're making a big difference.
Thank you. And I've got an amazing team. I don't do any of this by myself. I consider myself very lucky. My life changed a couple of years ago, having my first child and realizing very quickly that I didn't have the capacity that I once used to. And I relied very heavily on everyone that's on our team, and they came through for me. And I feel so lucky.
So, how involved are you in the business now?
Well, for Real Dog Box, I would say that's pretty self-sufficient. We've got our kitchen here in San Diego, and our operations team brings in all of the food, makes all the product, ships it out. I have biweekly meetings with them to make sure, certain things are on track. And our customer service team is also very self-sufficient. They don't need me every now and then. They might want to clear something or add a new feature. And then when that happens, our technology team will build it for them. And in terms of Feed Real, she's my right hand. So after she put together all of our research for both of the courses, the dog parent course and then the race approved professional course, her only job after that was to make sure she was constantly updating all of our articles. So unlike a lot of the blogs where there's like thousands of articles on all different topics, we chose to keep it small. We were like, let's keep it at 200, but every day we're learning something new. And so we got to go back, and it's not just one article we're updating, it's like several ones and adding the references and citations. So she does all of that, and she continues to teach our online workshops for people that want to learn how to feed fresh food or as part of their course requirement. And so a lot of my time right now is spent networking and working, trying to find new speakers, right, for next year's summit and new partners that we want to work with. I think not everyone is going to make their food at home. That is, it's something that's important for me, but I know not realistic for everyone. And so we have to be able to give them options. And so for the partners that come to our summit, they are incredibly well vetted. I mean, we don't just invite anyone and everyone. We do actually have to turn some companies down because our values don't align, whether it's our food philosophy or our dog philosophy. So I spend my time doing things like that and then figuring out like new features that we need to build onto our site that will help people feed real food and make it easier for them.
Well, you're doing an amazing job. It is so much fun, you guys. If you've never been to the Be Real Summit, it's kind of a party. So I know at least I make it that way. I it's a great photo opportunity too. It's so engaging and entertaining. Sometimes we get absolutely exhausted with all the content out there. And I've talked to some people and they're like, I'm just fried. I'm just totally fried. But in a situation with in your room, it's just so comfortable, so easy to sit there. You can take photos and record or whatever you need to do to like keep the content in your mind. You have a treat bag that's amazing. So I have my Be Real bag still. And
Yeah.
so the note taking is available. It's all easy, fun, inspiring, and the day goes by very fast. You think that it's going to drag out. You're like, oh my gosh, this is going to be so much work. And it really isn't.
Yeah, we had a few people that came as guests of our more diehard loyal fans, and they came up to me last year and they were like, I thought I was going to be so bored. I just came to accompany my friend. They even bought my ticket, but I'm definitely buying a ticket for next year.
Yeah.
So I think there is a lot of that. We also try to implement feedback that we get from people. Like one of the things we weren't able to do very well last year was an efficient Q&A. You know, we've got these amazing speakers, they cover so much information, and then you've got questions, but then someone's kind of running around with the mic. So what I'm trying to do this year is make it interactive so that you can type in your question as the speaker is talking and
Oh,
then pull it up so it's like first come, first serve.
that's a great idea. I love that. Look at you. You're so innovative.
Well, I have the ideas, right? But I'm not the one that executes them all the time. And that's why I say I'm so lucky to have an amazing team because if they didn't make it happen, I wouldn't be able to share like, oh, this is what we're doing differently.
How many are on your staff now?
We're still small. We got less than 8 people on our
That's amazing.
remote team, and then we've got about 7 people in the kitchen.
And are you going to have more children?
You know, I'm an older mom. I gave birth at 40. So
Oh, I had no idea.
yeah, yeah. And I totally understand why people say having children in your 20s when you have a lot of energy is the way to do it because I am more tired than I have ever been in my life.
Yeah.
But it is also, I think, the most rewarding thing I've ever done. And so if it happens, but there's also finding the balance between what we've started with Real Dog Box and the Feed Real Institute and wanting to like keep that going and figuring out how I can do both, which I have so much more respect for the working moms out there. Moms generally, I really had no idea how hard it is. And so I do try to have some grace and patience with myself and
And you
see.
have a great supportive husband.
Well, when I tell everyone, actually, he's the brains behind everything we're doing. I'm the person that can articulate and make it happen. So, every time people are giving me compliments of how much I've done, I'm very quick to say, like, I didn't do it alone. I didn't do it alone.
That's amazing. I met him last year. I didn't know who he was. I was like, who's this dude? I was like, that's Ruby's husband. I'm like, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And so
Yeah, so he did all the decor. He does all of the
no
design
way.
stuff. If you ask me what color to paint this wall between like an emerald green and a whatever, I'm like, I just see green. I don't care. Do whatever you want. So I think it helps to have, people who are very passionate about what they do and there's not a whole lot of overlap. So you have less chefs in the kitchen and then it's like, you handle that. Looks great. You don't need me. You don't need
Oh,
my
it's adorable what he's pulled together. I'm like in awe, mad respect. He must be an artist.
Yes, he is. He is at heart. He likes to build things. He built all of our infrastructure and architecture software wise.
Wow.
So yeah. And I
Incredible.
What's that?
That's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he was the one that actually grew up with dogs. I didn't. I didn't get a dog until we got Icon. He's my first dog as an adult. And he's 10 years old now. So
Yay.
he's seen our business from the beginning, from when we were living and working in our little food shop. You know, we had a little couch that we slept on with a big 150-pound dog and making the food in the kitchen in the next room.
That's so sweet. And it's so appropriate that his name is Icon, right? He changed your life and created this. I mean, he is the reason why all this exists.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you the story about his name in a second, but it was my partner, Turk, my business partner and husband, his previous dog, Atum, is the one that had gotten cancer.
Oh, I
And
thought it was
why
Icon.
no, Icon came around while Atum was still alive and really made the last 3 years of his life the most exciting, I would say. But Atum had gotten two different types of cancers, testicular cancer and then mast cell. And that's when we received the prognosis of 6 months. And we're like, we can't. And that's when we started feeding real food. And he lived 3 years longer. So we
Amazing.
made the decision to quit our jobs, start the business. And that's when Icon joined our family.
And you were a paralegal, right? Or
Yeah, I was working in white collar crime and international trade.
well, international trade really works for you because you must be outsourcing all that meat. I'm like, where do you get all this?
Yeah, well, no, everything's sourced in the US, so nothing ex international there except for our elk from New Zealand and our green lip mussels. That in particular really didn't start affecting us or giving, having that background knowledge wasn't really helpful until recently with the change in tariffs. Like we have our box machine that we designed to help us put together our boxes, and that was custom built. It did come from China, and it took forever to get to us. And so knowing sort of the ins and outs there did become helpful in the last year or so. But outside of that, I'd say the legal career is really what helped me the most was like there is no way that you can have grilled chicken breast on a bag and turn it over and there not be any chicken breast in the ingredients. I was like, that's impossible. That can't be legal. And I went down the rabbit hole and I was like, holy shit, it is legal. You
Oh,
can do
wow.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so like learning labeling requirements and things like that, that's where, that really gave me the drive to like, you just have to be honest with people. Tell them what's in the food, show them how you make it, and they'll have much more respect and then be able to make educated decisions, whether they want to buy from me or buy from someone else. That's okay. At least they know how the food is made.
Yeah. I think Rodney said that wolf's face is featured on like 14 different brands of dog food because everybody got into this primal thing. Well, if it's good for a wolf, it
Yeah.
must be good for my dog. And there was nothing wolf about any of these brands. It was
Yeah.
just the selling magnet.
Yeah. And that's why, so for us, Icon has been the face. We're like, we're not making this up. This is the real chief tasting officer. By the way, his name is actually Turkish. It's spelled Aykan, not
Well,
I.
and your husband's Turkish.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, I've been to Turkey.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, I've been to
Love it.
Ephesus and Izmir and in Istanbul and all of that. I bought some leather pants before I was vegan. I I'm not vegan anymore, but I went through 10 years of veganism. I was like, can vegans wear leather pants? No.
Do you still have them?
I don't think so. They were beautiful though.
I'm curious, what made you go vegan and then go back?
I started getting heart flutter. I couldn't eat enough taurine and I was having, so when I supplemented it, it would go away, but there was like this weird pressure on my heart. And I was like, oh, I bet this is taurine. So I just pounded a bunch of taurine and it went away. And I was just like, oh, and then Connor was the one that goes, good God, Poppy, eat a burger. Like, and so I sent him a picture eating my first burger. I'm like, I'm no longer, it was like losing my beginning. Like,
That's hilarious.
yeah. So here, thanks to Connor, I'm no longer a vegan.
So the heart flutter went away. Like you knew what it was and what the fix was. Food is
Yeah,
medicine.
just because of dog cat nutrition. I studied animal nutrition at Cal Poly, so I had a pretty good sense. And I also studied human nutrition at Delta College. And then I was on my way to a human dietitian's license to Sacramento State, the Sac State University. And when they like brought up the food pyramid, I was like, I'm out. I'm not doing it. I'm not telling old people to eat this or Jello. So I have a nutritional background. And so I was like, yeah, I know what this is. And so, yeah, now I'm pretty carnivorous. I don't love chicken.
Same.
I think there's a reason why it's foul. Like they call it foul because it's foul. Yeah.
No, I agree. I think I stopped eating chicken maybe 5 or 6 years ago.
Such a dirty meat.
And I feel like, especially if I liked dark meat always, but if I had to eat white meat, I felt like you had to add so many seasonings to it. And I also found out my father stopped eating chicken because of his blood type. He went to like a traditional Chinese medicine doctor, and they were like, chicken and coffee, you got to cut it out, and you know, IBS sort of symptoms would go away. And surely they did. And I think I don't know, just I didn't enjoy it the way that I used to, but I eat pretty much every other meat. And so does my son. And that's a hard conversation having with his pediatrician who follows that food pyramid.
Do they still? I mean, it's been totally debunked. It was created by Kellogg's to sell more cereal.
I think the idea is you must have fruits and vegetables, and where the disagreement I got in with there she's not our pediatrician anymore, but she was like, not too much red meat, make sure you're feeding lean chicken and white fish. And I was like, what? I'm
Right.
like, he's gonna get his energy from animal fat. And then we went into this, it probably was more of a one-sided discussion where I was like, that's not where the nutrients come from. And then I just realized I was kind of talking to a wall. And so, yeah, we don't go there anymore.
Gosh, it's as much as I don't want to say this, it's natural. So, what's the harm in getting all your nutrition from something that's one ingredient?
Yeah.
Yeah, it just makes sense. And just watching your dogs thrive on meat and organ meat. I'm not up to eating organ meat yet. Like I'm like in the back of my head, I'm like, I probably should do it, but I can't.
Well,
But
I make my son a liver pate every month. So I'll do like, I just garlic, onions, liver. And as I'm cooking it, my parents grew up, eating liver, and I didn't so much myself. But now I've been tasting it and I'm like, this is pretty damn good. I'll make you some next time I see you.
okay. All right. So when's your special event, Ruby? It's the first week or it's
The
second week?
second week of October. So it's October 11th and 12th, the Feed Reall Summit. Actually, as of this morning, we only had 10 tickets left.
Ooh,
Yeah. So we have sold out every year. I think a lot of people have commitment issues and they're like, I don't want to buy too early because what if I can't make it? And now I don't know what happened in the last 6 days, but there was a rush to get their tickets. So we have 10 left. It's a 2-day summit. We've got 7 speakers, a panel, and then our hands-on workshops, which are all going to be on Saturday afternoon. If you attended last year, we do like 3 workshops, but they run concurrently. So we have a fresh food workshop, learning how to make your food or teach your clients how to make their food at home. Tuning forks to heal
oh, Lori.
with Dr. Lori McCauley.
Yes. Oh, darn it. You're making me
The
want to come.
best.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that one, I didn't know that she invented the first underwater treadmill for dogs. Did you know that?
She was just on her live, but I don't know if she said that. She might have. She was our live stream was amazing. Like she was so knowledgeable.
I know. And so like she's an amazing teacher. So fun to watch and interact with. Yeah, so she's doing the second workshop, and then Dr. Linda Loudon, she's put together some holistic first aid kits, which I am just, she started sending all of the stuff to our kitchen, and I cannot believe how much stuff is in those kits. But the
Really?
idea is like, there are things that we were told we needed to have on hand. Like back in the day, they'd say use hydrogen peroxide if you needed your dog to
Yeah.
throw up because they accidentally ingested something. There's so many better things for that. But she's going to be teaching you how to put those kits together, and they'll be available to purchase afterwards. But those interactive workshops, that's on Saturday. And then Sunday, we've got our full panel and puppies, of course.
Yeah, that's right. You
You
always
remember the
have puppies.
puppies?
Yeah, and you usually have some rescues or that you sponsor and they get to
Yeah.
hang out
They're
more.
getting all of the food that we make at the summit is going to be donated to the animal pad and all of the dogs that are in their care. And then we have our happy hour on Sunday night. So it's a full event. We also added a happy hour on Friday night for anyone that's enrolled in the CPCN course that we have.
Cool.
So that's exciting. And then I don't know if I told you this, but we got a call from the Wall Street Journal who is coming to cover our summit.
That is so exciting. Oh my gosh, that's like big time.
I am like, I still can't believe it. I had to vet the person that reached out because I was like, this is not real. But she basically said that she recently adopted a dog. She has a Jindo. She's from New York City. And she actually, the rescue sent her home with real fresh food.
Oh,
I don't know what the brand is. So she already had it in her head that she wanted to continue this, but wasn't sure, the right way to go about it. And then learning that there's this actual movement towards fresh, real food, she came across our summit and she said it just seemed like the most well-attended, incredible event, and I would like to make it the centerpiece of my article on
oh
fresh
my
food.
gosh. I have goosebumps. Congratulations. That's so exciting.
Thank
That's
you.
it
Yeah,
doesn't get any better than that, except for maybe Forbes 500 for you.
I know. That's maybe I can get to what is it? 40 before 50 before 50. I don't know.
We're cheering you on.
Yeah. No, I think it's great. I think the more eyeballs we have on what we're doing, the better. I mean, it's gonna, as a whole, rising ships, and we have to keep shouting as long as we can, and sooner or later, someone's gonna take notice.
Well, it's interesting because I didn't go to Super Zoo this year, but I went last year and I was shocked how many fresh food, freeze-dried, frozen type of companies were out there. And it was like, wow, this is really catching on because it
Yeah.
was a large part of Super Zoo. So it is like, gosh, I get bombarded all day long for Sundays for dogs and things like that on my internet. I'm like, please stop. And so it's so deceitful because they'll say fresh ingredients. They never say the carbs. And then when you actually look at the label, it's like peas and rice and barley and stuff. I'm like, why didn't they say that on the ad? They're just trying
Yeah.
to suck you in. But you're not deceitful like
Yeah.
that. You're
Well,
on.
and also we did one of our speakers, we met Hannah Mandelbaum of Evermore Pet Food. Their company is really big on ethical sourcing. And so she's going to be talking about that. And I think that's just so important because you're right, we're being bombarded, and a lot of people don't know how to read labels or like what to look for because there's again all of these key words that you're like, oh, this looks good. And whether we want to admit it or not, all of us are swayed by pretty packaging and marketing terms. Like those people in sales and marketing, they know what they're doing. They know how to get us and what our concerns are, our pain points. And so she's going to be giving a talk on that, which I think is going to be really, really helpful. And then Trina Hazaa. So do you know Trina?
I don't think so.
She's an oncologist and she does a lot of work with dogs, cancer dogs, and using
Cool.
CBD. And so I know we talk a lot about CBD for dogs with cancer, but she's going to be going over the more everyday issues like anxiety
Oh,
and
nice.
seizures and just pain generally, and how CBD can help with that, which I think is it's important because that's another sector that's feeling um, like we're seeing so many CBD companies, and so knowing how to choose the right one for your dog is going to be really powerful information.
I'm so glad you're doing that. CBD's always been a source of concern for me because the first time I ever tried CBD, it was not a legitimate product. And so it actually did more harm than good on my dog. And so I usually push everyone, like if anybody asks me anything about CBD, I'm like, go to somebody else to talk to them about that.
Trina has a really good product, Rooted Owl.
Who is that, Julie?
Trina Hazaa, who's the
Trina.
speaker, has her
Yeah.
own line called Rooted Owl, which is very good.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. And
She's
she's
a great speaker.
marrying with CBD product, which a lot of veterinarians are very scared to have their own CBD product for losing their license. And so that she's willing to risk that on her product line. So good.
Yeah, well, and she's has the case studies to prove how CBD has helped her cancer, seizure, pain patients, you know? So it's there's not much they can say, but she's amazing. And she helped bring a lot of the other speakers and people together that are going to be at this year's event.
Fantastic. Oh, darn it.
Now, like I said, there's 10 tickets left as of this morning. That might change. Check back tomorrow morning and see.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can drive there. I
Yeah.
don't have to fly. It's about an 8-hour drive for me.
Oh, no, girl, just fly.
I know. I can fly into. Where do you fly into?
Into San Diego. The
That's
venue
at
is
Orange
like 20
County
minutes.
or no, it is right in San Diego. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a bad flight.
Yeah. And I think
Sacramento.
there's we got a hotel block, so there were discounted rooms, and I think they're still available. It's like 10 minutes from the venue.
I
So,
think it's the same hotel every year, right? The Hilton.
yeah, but I'm gonna try to, we did ask them to do a shuttle for us, so that way people
Nice.
can save on their Uber rides and we'll just bring them back and forth.
Yeah, there you go. Because I've paid a lot of money in Uber in San Diego. That's a great deal.
Yeah, but if you can get a group of your friends to come, I mean, share a hotel room.
Split the
It's
cost.
gonna be worth your while. Yeah.
It's a very fast and furious weekend. So Julie's asking Julie on Facebook, a different Julie, the vet CBD company again, the guest speaker,
Rooted Owl.
Rooted Owl.
Rooted Owl.
Yeah.
And then if you guys want tickets, go to
Go to feedreal.com/summit. And if you guys are listening to this, I would be happy to offer you buy one, get one 50% off. So I can not worry about those last 10 tickets and focus on my introduction speech.
That's awesome. Buy one, get one 50% off. You guys heard it here. If you hear this live, you guys, let's go to San Diego. The weather's always good. The beach is fun. I always hit the beach the day before a little bit or the day after the evening.
Yeah, on Monday morning, I'm organizing a little hike around La Jolla just to sort of decompress. I think we're all going to need it because it's a lot of information to take in, and I think it'll be nice if you're visiting here from out of town and you haven't enjoyed San Diego weather, it's worth adding an extra day onto your trip or even just a few hours.
It is. Are you still doing your tours through your building?
Yes.
I've never done that.
Yeah, we're doing one on Monday. So we'll do the hike in the morning, and then after people grab a bite to eat, 1 o'clock. I promised Connor that I would let him get on his afternoon flight on time. So we agreed to 1 o'clock, and he's going to be coming on that tour as well.
Right on. Excellent.
Yeah.
He'll get excited about all the kelp.
Oh my gosh. He's such a hoot. He
He
is.
is. He's a blast. Okay, Ruby, thank you for your time. Do you guys have any questions, all of you on Zoom? I can change my screen too. Anything you want to ask Ruby?
I have a fun question.
We love fun questions.
So I've been looking at I've been, watching you the whole time and seeing your board all behind you, which I love that Poppy noted how innovative you are. What's the one thing on that board behind you that you would tell?
That I would.
Oh, you muted, Mary.
Sorry, I don't know what happened. I was flipping on my
Right, the
phone.
suspense. We're like,
What's one thing on that board that you're like, this is on that board? Like just a fun thing.
That good question. A lot of this stuff is not fun, but
Fun for you.
fun for me, our Poop Inspector series.
I love
So we
when
have
you have this poop card that I love.
yes, it's my favorite thing of like our literature that we carry. And we basically are creating a character. He's going to be Professor Nuggets, and he's going to analyze pictures of poop that we get in because I have thousands of poop pictures on my phone. And if you don't, you are not a real dog owner.
It's a thing we do.
It
Yes.
is.
Yes. So
I'm
that's an
so
exciting
glad I
project.
asked. Thank you for that. That's hilarious.
Of course.
Okay, so Mary, I love that question. So now I want to ask Ruby, what's your most inspiring quote that you live by?
Ooh. I don't know how inspiring this is going to be for others, but it's actually on my board. I don't know who said it. I'll read it to make sure I don't butcher it, but it's basically no one's going to do the work for you.
Amen. You got it.
Mm-hmm.
It's so
Yeah.
true.
Yeah. And I'm
Yeah.
finding it harder and harder because I don't want to do a lot of things anymore.
As a mom, yeah.
But the nice thing is, like, when you figure out the things that give you energy and ideally make you money, right? Like help you make a living, that's what you need to prioritize. And I try to remind myself of it. I actually have a board in my kitchen and it's like things that give you energy and make you money, prioritize. Things that give you energy but don't make you money, protect. So like going to the gym or something like that. Things that don't give you energy but still make you money, you got to delegate it. You got to find other people that enjoy doing those tasks. And then the stuff that doesn't make you money and doesn't give you energy, just let it go. It's just time to move on from
You
it.
know, I needed to hear that because that's been rolling around in my head just today is I need to change my life. I need to reprioritize. I need to be more efficient and get more things done. And I've gotten to this point where I'm like, I don't want to quit. I want to keep going, but it needs to have more for me because I'm tired.
Yeah, I know. And so you just got to dial in on, what makes you feel good. I think that's what it is. And that's why when you asked me to look at this board, I'm like, oh gosh, I haven't looked at that in like 3 months.
Well, there was some purpose to that.
Right on, Mary. Thank you for opening that combo. I really appreciate it. Anything else before Ruby needs to go? You guys are all good. Charlene?
Hi.
Hi.
Ruby, do you need any more pics of like weird, different kind of poops?
To submit to Professor Nuggets. We'll take all the pictures we can get. It's a
Because
fun
I got some weird ones from last week.
Well,
Yeah, send them in to us. It's actually so Real Dog Box, we have our box subscriptions, but we also do consultations for our members if you're a subscriber. So that's why I say we get thousands of photos of poop pictures.
That's cool.
Yeah, so send it in, help at real.dog. We'll be happy to discuss it with you.
And where do I send it?
You can email it help@real.dog.
Real.dog.
Mhm.
Okay.
Right on. Excellent. Yeah. Charlene might have had a little coccidia exposure last week. So there's some serious crap there. Yeah.
You have never seen poop like when I first adopted her. Oh my God.
What
I
color
could
was it?
about 6, 7 years ago.
Color.
She was eating the crap with the crap with the crap with the crap. And like the first day, it was like, no, honey, you're on this. We changed her right away. It took a while to change it, but boy, my vet looked at Erin Holder, if you know her, was looking at it like, what the hell is that? Like we
Yeah.
couldn't figure it out at all.
But isn't it amazing how much poop tells us?
It is.
You know, it's funny when at AFMA, I arranged dinner there too, Poppy. You probably knew that. And I was right across from Rodney, and all he talked about was poop the whole time. And he kept turning over his shoulder, going, Becker's going to kill me. He kept looking down at the table. She's going to kill me. And Holly Gans was right next to him, so that triggered it. And then I had Jackie with me from Equisol and Roxanne. So we had our little corner, and that's all we talked about. He kept going, Becker's going to kill me. Becker's going to kill me.
So you guys just talk crap the whole time.
The whole time. It was pretty crazy. And Odette was on the other end of the table. So I said, she's on the wrong end of the table. She needs to be with us too.
Yeah, really. Exactly.
I
Oh,
can't wait to
definitely
see.
is a-
I can't
And
wait to see what your AI summarizes from this conversation.
I know. And Julie on Facebook says she has some tapeworm poop pictures. So
Ooh, I can't say that I've personally got one, but I'm sure our team has.
I'm sure it happens
Yeah, it
way
happens all
more
the time.
often than not. Yeah. Especially on raw diets. I do think it happens a bit.
Yeah. But I mean, it's the only way, one of the only ways our dogs can tell us when something's off. So that's my rule. That's my first step to helping people feed real food. I'm like, become a professional poop inspector. That is your first job.
It's true. It's the same with the horses. The cat, it's a barn cat. I've never seen her poop in my whole life. But yeah. So if she does poop, actually, she has pooped in front of me. So I knew it was an emergency because she made an effort for me to see it. Yeah. So she was obvious, like, hello. Yes.
Animals are amazing.
They are. They're so smart.
They are.
Okay, you guys have a wonderful week. Next week is animal iridology practice class. You guys, we will not be live streaming that. So you will have to hop on the Zoom to participate. And we'll see you next week. We have almost all of October booked, which is really exciting. And hopefully you'll be at Ruby's event. So, yay.
Thank you so much.
We're going.
Hope to see you
Okay.
there. Bye.
Thank you, Ruby. Bye.
Thank you.